And I might move around a bit because the sun, when it comes out, it's just a little bit too much. But I'm so happy to see everybody here today. Like when you get to meet everybody face to face and see who it is that's doing this important work here, it really shows the impact that we're creating here. I do a lot of public speaking, but I find when I'm in front of people who I really care about, like all of our staff, I start to feel a little nervous. So excuse me for my nervousness. I wanted to thank Winston for opening us up in a good way today, and for Ellen for being here and for sharing some remarks as a counselor from Bloodvein First Nation. Shawenim Abinoojii means to nurture the child. We are responsible for working with children and families and young people who come from the 8 Southeast First Nations. And it's truly an honor for us to be able to do this work together. When we talk about Shawenim Abinoojii, it's not really like a company, it's all of you who we see around each other here. And this work that we're doing is so important to the people that we're serving. I wanted today just to kind of talk a little bit about where the organization came from and why it is that we're here today. I wanted to talk about a few things that I think are important for us to keep in mind when we're doing this work. And then following that, we want to do some acknowledgements as well. So we see a lot of new team members here, and I'm very excited to see all the people who are a part of this work. Shawenim Abinoojii was incorporated in 2005, which is quite some time ago, and originally it was called 4Bed Inc. It was a resource that was developed out of need, and it was developed by the communities who we currently serve. The reason why it was developed is the reason why our Northern Regional Care Program exists, and why that program is the heart of the organization. So in 2005, community members from these First Nations were seeing an issue happen in their First Nations, and it was impacting their children and families. There were limited places for children, if they did need protection, for them to stay in their home communities. And what was happening is that children were being brought into care and flown out of their communities to be placed with strangers and not having that opportunity to return home. And for these children, it was impacting their ability to keep their language and their sense of identity, sense of self, and that connection to their families and communities. And to those communities and families, they were losing those children who are normally the center of everything in their world. So kids were losing the ability to speak to their grandparents when they went home because they were losing their language. And I see so many First Nations faces here today, so I think this is something that can mean a lot to us and that we can understand. That importance of knowing who you are and what your purpose is in the world, who you belong to, where you come from, it's important. And without that, there's devastating consequence. We read about it in reports. We may have felt it in our own lives. So it's really important that that connection to your sense of identity, self, your sense of family and community, that's honored. That's a part of who we are as Anishinaabe people. So Shawenim Abinoojii was created to provide resources that allow kids to be connected, that keep kids in their home First Nations, where if they did come into care, they can continue to go to their same school, they can continue to hang out with their buddies and their cousins, and that their parents can continue to see them in their home communities. Like for many of us here, I think we're parents, and if you could only imagine your child being taken from you and placed in a place where you don't even get to see them all the time, and what that would do to you as a person. And these issues that I'm talking about are intergenerational, and I think that's something that a lot of us understand and that's important for us to remember. That there is a systemic, focused effort on deconstructing the identity of First Nations people and our families and communities. And it's a difficult thing to talk about, but it's something important for us to remember because we're working within that system, that CFS system. And a lot of these systems are designed for that purpose of taking apart something that's truly beautiful and a part of who we are. And so every day in the work that we do, it's important that we remain mindful of that. And sometimes with these approaches to try to hurt us as Indigenous people, it becomes insidious. It becomes something that might not be noticeable right on the surface of everything. But it's woven into the structures that are a part of the world that we operate in as a service provider. And so we all need to remain critically aware of that. And sometimes when we look at a situation or when we look at each other and we feel a particular way that doesn't feel right, it's important that we question that. and that we ask where that comes from, what assumptions we have about that, where do those assumptions come from, and that we challenge it so that we transform how we treat each other and transform how we work with the people we serve. We had the opportunity to go and visit each of the 8 First Nations over the past few months to do information sessions. And I was so pleased to see such representation from all of our departments. Some of the communities we went to, it was like staff were fighting at the opportunity to be able to participate. And that really showed me who it is that we have working here, and it was very powerful and very impactful for me. When we went to the communities, we were sharing information about who we are and what we do, and we were also hearing and asking from communities for them to tell us who they are and how they want us to work with their children and families. And we had a debrief from these sessions the other day, and there were a lot of staff there from different departments, and it was such a powerful day. And I'm really grateful for all the work that had went into completing that round of sessions, and it's not the only time we're going to do that, but it helps bring us home again. The company has changed a lot over the past few years. There's so many more faces here, and I'm so happy to see that, and such great Indigenous representation here, which is so important. So I'm glad we were able to do those introductions, and we're going to be doing some more work with our teams to be kind of reorienting us. Because as a company grows and expands, you can't lose that sense of what the purpose is, especially when the purpose of Shawenim Abinoojii is so critical and important. So following this, there will be some times that we spend with each team to kind of go over some of the fundamentals of how we operate and the purpose of why we're here. But it's really simple. Like when we went to those community information sessions, it's to work in relationship with those people who we're serving, that we're not an external urban-based resource that's not connected, that everything we do needs to be driven by the community. I'm really grateful that Ellen was able to be here today. And I'm really grateful that our board of directors put together a strategic plan for the organization a few years ago. That strategic plan was developed by our board members who represent each of the 8 First Nations, as well as other stakeholders in the region. And that's what gives direction to the work that I do here and the direction that I take. It's following everything that those First Nations tell me what to do. Our board of directors meets on a monthly basis, and they give me direction, input, feedback, and they guide the work that's done here, and it's really important that the organization is set up that way. So part of those strategic priorities are that we have community-driven, equitable service. And you see with our teams here, the diversity in the teams and the different sizes of the teams, and it's really important that we have people working in capacities, working directly with our young people, and I'm really glad to see some of our young people here from our education program today. Like, it's a real joy every time I go to 126 Alfred and just see people living their lives in a beautiful way. Like, everybody here deserves that, and all the young people we work with deserve that, and all the families we work with deserve that. And so I just wanted to make sure I'm making it very clear that it's important for us to challenge some of those assumptions that we may have, especially when we're going through change as well. Ellen had mentioned the move for us to go to 865 Main Street, and that's where we're going to see each other a lot more frequently. But with change, it's complicated, right? And I anticipate it's going to be a journey for all of us, but it's going to be great. So I'm really excited for us to come together, and I'm really grateful for all the work that we do. And I wanted to remind everybody of the context in which we work, and that it's based in a system that was intended to harm our people. And that the onus is on us to put even more into being aware of that when we're working with individuals, and to check our assumptions, and to work with each other in a good way, and to follow those 7 sacred teachings that we talk about, because that's really what can guide us to do things in the best way towards each other, and most importantly for those people that we're serving. And so I just wanted to remind folks a little bit about that, and I wanted to thank people for everything they put into this work, because it's complicated, it's hard. And Shawenim Abinoojii, although we don't have things figured out, is viewed as an example of a best practice model of working with First Nations. So it's really notable and remarkable that all of you are employed here, and you should be proud of yourselves. So I just want to thank everybody for being here today, and for putting everything and all of their heart medicine into the work that we do here with the children, families, and communities that we serve. Miigwech.
have a few folks we want to acknowledge, and then we'll get into this year's staff appreciation acknowledgements. So we'll be asking these folks to come up, and we'll just give them a round of applause and announce their years of service. All right. So first, we have Tracy Finlayson, 5 years of service. Yay, Tracy.
For Emmanuel from Memengwa, and we said, here, we'll make this happen. And they did. Look at the team that you saw here today and all the work that they're doing working with young people. Thank you, Brandy. We also wanted to acknowledge Carrie Johnston, who's on mat leave, and she's not here today, but she has provided at least 5 years of service with us. So thank you, Carrie. Mary's here. Mary Behrens? Come up here, please. Mary Behrens is our community coordinator in Behrens River. She works with guiding and supporting our homes. She's a critical part. Our community coordinators serve such an important role. They're the ones directly there with those homes in the First Nations. Thank you, Mary, for your 5 years of service.
Got it. Thanks.
I think they want people to stay there. And we also wanted to acknowledge Tyrone. Like I said, he came on board the same day as Brandy, and they've done really remarkable work to create the Memengwa program as it is today. So thank you, Tyrone, for 5 years of service.
You guys get in a little closer. Let me get a picture of you all. Yeah, let me get a picture.
We're just chit-chatting.
Hold yours up too, DJ. Yeah, there we go. All right. Thank you. Oh yeah, Victoria, you get in there too. Yeah. Okay. All right, got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we can go sit, right?
You done?
Yeah, thanks.
I also have something here for DJ from TP Insurance. Apparently there was a contest that if you signed up for it, you're entered to win something. And yes, for the benefits.
I want the TV.
Oh. Okay, well, this is what you won, DJ. You were the winner. Congratulations. Ooh. What's Beats, he says.
Headphones.
Yeah.
Headphones, I think.
Starting at $50. We're at 50. Whoa! Not even gonna whip.
Being a female leader was the perception that I was not strong or that I was weak, and I understood that from a different perspective. I understood that as a great
Bonjour. Just before I begin, I was at a gathering a few years ago, and I was listening to this leader, a chief from a Northern Ontario community speaking, but he interrupted himself about 10 minutes into what he was talking about, and he reminded all of us that were gathered in this room, he told all of us, I've come a long way, and I've experienced a lot of things that I want to share with you. The least you could do, he said, is get off your phones for this little while I speak. Because what you're doing to me, he said, is you're disrespecting me while I've come a long way to share with you. So I thought that was pretty cool and honest that he spoke that way. Because sometimes I think we do get a little busy on our devices and we miss the message that's being shared. So I would like to ask each of you to just take a little moment and maybe just listen, okay? So that message Deborah shared with all of us was around leadership and how challenging that can be for our leaders sometimes. she talked about also the message she conveyed to all of us is that leadership is not just handed to somebody. And that was one of the things I picked up on what she was talking about. Because leadership, whether you're a female or a male, but leadership is earned. A person has worked hard to get to that position. And the other part of her message was how the rest of us in that circle need to support our leadership. So this was specific in terms of why I asked her to share this message with all of us. Because today I want to take a little bit of time to acknowledge, to honor our leader. Abhijan. This work that our sister does can be very difficult at times. And unfortunately, even a little more difficult simply because she's a woman. Even more difficult sometimes. So we wanted to take a moment to acknowledge our leader, Victoria. I'm going to get you to come over here. Maybe just come and stand over here. So before we go there, I just want to share a teaching with you. You can face these guys. I just want to share a quick teaching with you. And this is a buffalo teaching. Okay? So anytime that there's a threat to the herd, and a threat might come from a pack of wolves, for example, what that group of buffalo do, what that herd does, it encircles. It encircles, it forms a shield around all the calves, all the maimed or hurt or sick buffalo. They form a circle, and they all face outward to face whatever threat is coming at them. And it's only once that threat has receded that they break away once again, letting all of those come out from that circle, that protective circle. So today, we wanted to do a couple of things. One, when we receive an eagle feather, it's because we've earned that eagle feather. We don't just give them out to everybody and anybody. It's only because that person has earned that feather. And today we want to gift you, Victoria, this feather because you've earned it. You've truly earned it. And my hope is that you'll carry it as you lead us in whatever direction we're going as an organization, that you'll always carry this and you'll always hold it close to your heart when you speak your truth and when you speak for us as an organization, when you speak for those children, when you speak for us as staff, when you speak for us as communities. So we want to gift you this. Oh, this is the one. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Looks the same. Open that one then. Sorry. I thought I had the right one. I didn't know we had two of them. So who else? I'm just kidding.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you can show everybody. There you go. Yeah. So this is the one we want to gift you. All right. But also what we'd like to do is we'd like also to do a blanket ceremony with you. Okay? And this is what I'm talking about. This is us as an organization encircling our leader and letting our leader know that, yes, indeed, we are behind you. Yes, indeed, we are behind you. Even though it feels like you're walking alone some days, with all the stresses that come with your role, your job, always know that we're behind you, that we're walking behind you. Okay? And right here is a representation of all of us right here, our staff right here. Brandy represents all of us here. Our youth. Our youth is represented over here. Delaney? Delana, right? Who sits on our youth advisory council, right? again, our youth is represented as well. And our counselor over here, Helen Young, who represents our communities, which is a representation of those 8 communities that we all service, that why this organization even exists, right? To provide these supports, these services to our children, our families, and our communities. So those 8 communities are represented right here. And this is us, all of us here, encircling you and saying we got your back. We have your back, all right? And that's why we want to do this with you. So we can go ahead. And I want to share a song. So if you can stand with me. The people are strong. Our leader is strong. Thank you, Creator, for that strength. This organization is only as strong as our leader. And it's our job, it's our role to keep our leader strong, to help her stay strong, so that she can lead us, so that she can do that work that we need to do as an organization, why we exist today. And that's that song, an honor song, Miigwech. So you can come up, maybe give her a shake, a hand, or whatever, it's up to you, hug, whatever. Miigwech. So the video that Deborah shared with us, Doug is going to email the link to all of us. So you can also maybe watch it a second time at your own leisure as well.